Hello everyone, this episode will focus on the news from my open source Vulristics project for vulnerability analysis and prioritization, EPSS version 3, the third iteration of the exploit prediction scoring system, EPSS, was released in March. It is stated that EPSS has become 82% better. There is a pretty cool and detailed article about the changes. For example, EPSS team began to analyze not 16 parameters of vulnerabilities, but 1164. I have a suspicion that most of these parameters are vendor labels as in the table, but trying to figure out how it actually works is not very promising. After all, this is the output of some neural network, so there is no algorithm there. In terms of complexity and incomprehensibility, this is already similar to Tenable VPR, but the fact that EPSS is available for free redeems everything. By the way, the article mentions Tenable VPR and other commercial scores and criticizes them for their proprietary nature, public inaccessibility, and the fact that these scores are partly based on expert opinion and not just on data. I have looked at the EPSS values for some CVs. For a Microsoft Word RC vulnerability CV 2023-21716 with the recent proof of concept, EPSS is very high. For SPNEGA CV 2022-37958, for which a public exploit should appear in Q2, EPSS is also high. For a random Microsoft Edge vulnerability from February, Microsoft Patch Tuesday, there are dozens of them every month, EPSS is low. And I took a vulnerability with high EPSS, CV 2023-0297, and it is also clear why. There is a link to the exploit directly in NVD. At first glance, everything is quite adequate. I wouldn't recommend prioritizing vulnerabilities solely based on EPSS, but using it as an additional factor with the same weight as the CVSS base score and possibly higher can be quite good. This value is unlikely to rise up for no reason at all. If it goes to 0.9 and above, it makes sense to take a closer look at the vulnerability. EPSS version 3 support in Vulristics. I have added support for EPSS data in Vulristics. EPSS has become another data source, so the command to analyze a set of CV identifiers will look like this: Python 3, Vulristics Py, report type CV list, CV project name, new project, CV list path, analyze CV list.txt, CV comments path, analyze CV comments.txt, CV data sources, MS, NVD, EPSS, vulners, attacker KB, rewrite flag, true. Adding a new source is not a difficult task. I did it by analogy with NVD. However, the equation arose: which value of EPSS to use? There were two options. Probability, quote, probability of observing exploitation actively in the next 30 days, end of quote. Percentile, a value indicating how many CV vulnerabilities has a lower probability to be observed exploited than this particular CV vulnerability. Quote, for example, an EPSS probability of just 0.10% rests at about the 88th percentile, meaning that 88% of all CVs are scored lower, end of quote. I've come to the conclusion that the probability values are too small and differ little from each other, so it's better to use percentile. I updated the report for the April MS Patch Tuesday, old report without EPSS and new report with EPSS. It looks good enough, but with some oddities. The most critical vulnerability, elevation of privilege in Windows Common Log File System Driver CV2023-28252, which is present in CISA-KEF, known exploited vulnerabilities, has a very low EPSS for some reason. Therefore, the result of some ML analysis is of course good, but do not lose common sense. Vulristics integration into Cloud Advisor. Cloud Advisor uses Vulristics to prioritize vulnerability. A great example of how my open source project can be integrated into a commercial product. In this case, into a Cloud Security Posture Management (CSPM) solution. Vulristics is released under the MIT license, so it can be freely used in any way as a utility, as individual functions, as a methodology and algorithms for calculating the criticality of vulnerabilities. There are no requirements to open your derived code or anything like that. Here is an excerpt from the press release about the new vulnerability management feature in Cloud Advisor. Quote, additionally, algorithms of the Vulristics tool are utilized for prioritization while taking into account a number of variables, such as the type of vulnerability, the CVSS score, and the existence of a public exploit. This enables you to concentrate your efforts on fixing the vulnerabilities that actually pose a threat to your infrastructure. End of quote. If you have a large cloud infrastructure and don't know how to control its security, take a look at Cloud Advisor. By the way, this company was created by the founders of Agnitum, the vendor of the Agnitum Outpost personal firewall, popular in the 90s. I use it very actively. They are very reasonable and skilled guys. And that's it for today. Please subscribe and leave your comments. Bye.